Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever in the world you may be joining us from today. My name is Francesco Del Carpio, and I am the CFL York Operations Coordinator. I would like to officially open the seventh session of the Student Nurses Voices Speaker Series, Student Nurses Voices from Northern Europe. This series is being presented in partnership with the Nightingale Initiative for Global Health and sponsored by the Integrative Nurse Coach Academy, the Global Academy of Holistic Nursing, and the Commonwealth Nurses and Midwives Foundation. I would like to begin today with a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge and recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with the territory upon which our campuses are located that precede the establishment of York University. The area is known as Tkaronto and has been caretaken by the Anishinaabe Nation, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat. It is now home to many First Nation, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current treaty holders, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. The territory is subject to the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. As this is an online event, our participants may be joining from various locations, so I strongly encourage you to learn about the traditional land upon which you are located. With this, I welcome our moderators, our speakers, and our participants from around the world. Welcome to our webinar. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our moderators today, Dr. Deepa Marie Beck and Maria Teresa or Tess Panisalis, both from the Nightingale Initiative for Global Health. And for the sake of time, their full bios of both of our moderators and all of today's speakers will be posted in the chat. Drs. Beck and Panisalis, thank you very much for moderating today's session and for all of your work in helping put this session and the entire series together. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Francesco. Thank you for your equally amount of work and care and concern to achieve all of this in so many ways. Greetings to everyone. I'm Dr. Deepa Marie Beck, International Co-Director of the Nightingale Initiative for Global Health. And it's my pleasure also to welcome my colleague, Maria Teresa Tess Panisalis. I'm going to be introducing Baroness Rafferty, but please remark first. Tess? Huh?
Okay, I have to unmute myself apparently in order for you guys to hear me. So good evening, I suppose, to most of our listeners right now, but also good morning to wherever you are. For our end here, it's a good afternoon. I'm Dr. Maria Teresa or Tess Panisalis with the Nightingale Initiative for Global Health. We're really very excited to listen to your stories, and those stories are really building up what our next generation would be, and how we see what's transforming from the past to the present, and of course, as I mentioned, to the future. So back to you, Diva.
No, thank you so much, Tess. Tess has a good way of honoring the students because she's been a professor of students herself. Now, it is my deep honor to be introducing our dear friend for 25 years, who has now recently been appointed to the British House of Lords. Our friend Baroness and Dame Anne-Marie Rafferty, who is also a professor of nursing policy and the former dean at the Florence Nightingale Faculty of Nursing, Midwifery, and Palliative Care, King's College London. Baroness Rafferty, please, we're so glad you're here.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to be with you. Unfortunately, I can't stay because the business of the house will take me away back into the chamber, but it's absolutely thrilling to see some of our students here and also to acknowledge that what we're seeing here, I think, is an increasingly powerful and important global movement of intergenerational leadership, where our students and our young nurses are twinning and teaming up with us oldies. And we have a vested interest in your future and development because, boy, you're the guys who are going to be looking after our generation as well. But what could be more thrilling than this week to be talking and dialoguing with you this week. First of all, you know, yesterday was the International Nurses Day, and it also was the day when the State of the World's Nursing Report was launched by WHO. Itself a major vehicle for not just analysis, not just advocacy, but acting on the data. And that's, of course, exactly what Florence Nightingale herself did. She generated the data. She also presented it in a format that policymakers would understand. She knew they had quite a short attention span, and she innovated in being a pioneer of the infographic in the way in which she presented her data, so it's easily digestible. I think the other lesson we can take in dialoguing, not just amongst ourselves, not just across the generations, not just across the globes, but also in terms of taking data and turning it into policy action. She was so well networked with politicians and the political movers and shakers of her time. And that's where we need to be as well. We need to be at the table and actively having our voice amplified in advocating for nursing and strengthening the position of nursing globally. So with those thoughts and words, I'm really sorry I can't stay with you, but I wish you a wonderful webinar, and you're in great hands and so proud of everything that you're achieving. And I look forward to hearing how it goes. Okie doke. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Baroness. So grateful for this. And may you have a good session at the House of Lords.
Thank you.
Now it is my pleasure to reintroduce Tess, because she brings to us an opening free form poem that she wrote. Actually, this poem called The Healers, it was inspired by this series and the previous series, Nurses Voices Speaker Series. So Tess, over to you for your beautiful poem.
Thank you so much, Diva. Oh, so Francesca's ready for me now. The Healers. Though it hurts, to see the suffering, our patients, our communities, our world, to be a witness where care cannot be reached, where care cannot be given, where care is a high price to pay. To hold the hands when life slips, when the newborn drifts, when honor and values are robbed, when our own identity is such that is left unknown. The humanness of being a nurse is more than what is visible. It is what is within. One who longs for a just world, for peace in the midst of suffering, or the moment of fleeting joy. one who dares to fight, to hold hands with you, with everyone, as we too are your partners. We too are part of the circle.
Hmm.
We too are healers. In building a better world. Thanks. Yeah, it's always touches me emotionally every time I read this poem.
Well, perhaps that's what needs to happen every time. Indeed,
It's a
especially
reminder.
during International Nurses Week. Thank you so much, Tess. Would you like to say anything else? I know you have to go and you have to go and work for a while, so we'll see.
Oh, yeah.
But what else would you like to say now, briefly?
Well, really, I'll be in the background listening,
Okay.
but you might not see me because I'm going back to work. But definitely I'll chime in again just before we end up. So I'll
Okay.
be listening to you guys and really looking forward to this great discussion, this great sharing, and always remember the power is in you.
Thank you so much, Tess. Now, it is my pleasure to be introducing Mr. Manuel Balota. Balota? Who is policy advisor for the European Federation of Nurses Associations, representing 3 million nurses in 35 EU and European countries. Over to you, Manuel. You are our regional advisor, a regional introducer.
So, good evening to all of you from Brussels. First of all, it is a great honor and pleasure to be here among such a high-level panel. And it is a great honor to be representing the European Federation of Nurses Associations. As Deva already introduced, my name is Manuel Ballotta, and I am the policy advisor. So, as Deva already said, EFN represents 3 million nurses and 36 national nurses associations in 35 EU and European countries. So just for a brief introduction, the EFN's main area of focus is to work closely with the EU institutions, with the European Commission, with the Council of the EU and the European Parliament to promote the interest of the nursing profession in the EU and to advance the nursing profession in the EU and to ensure that all the time, whenever there is any decision that may impact on the nursing profession, that the voices of the nurses is taken into account. And this includes, of course, on topics that impact on nursing students. So in this area, now EFN is working closely with WHO in the context of the EU-funded Nursing Action, which is the first project of its kind, working directly with the partners representing the nurses. And the focus of this project is on recruitment and retention of nurses. And on the area of recruitment, mentorship is a key component. And for this purpose, EFN has conducted a mapping and a literature review, which then will lead to development of a policy brief. So today I will be introducing I will give you an overview of the preliminary outcomes of our research. So before going into that, I just wanted to give you an overview also of what are the main priorities of EFN. Of course, these are all linked to mentorship, one way or another, where you have education, of course, with regards to the directive on the mutual recognition of professional qualifications, which regulates the nursing profession in the EU, and therefore also regulates the way, what are the minimum standards, which there is a clear mandate for having students following high quality clinical studies in which mentorship plays a key role. Then you have workforce, of course, also in this case, there is an important component of you need qualified nurses who can also supervise and mentor students. And of course, this is fundamental because then it leads to high quality and safety of patient care. So with regards to the mapping that we conducted, there was a few points that we have looked into. Of course, this mapping was conducted with the EFM members, who are the national nurses associations that provided input to the survey. We looked at the national legislation on the education of mentors, on initiatives at the local, regional, and national level that support the development of qualified mentors, on any NNA-led capacity building activity aiming to support the development of mentors, on whether the NNAs distinguish between the learning needs of young and adult learners, on the presence of a national competitive framework to ensure the provision of high qualified mentors, on the desirability of a new competitive framework, and on the challenges faced by nurses and mentors in providing mentorships. So overall, the results clearly show that the importance of having competent mentors is widely recognized across the EU. There is a growing consensus towards requiring high academic standards for nurse teachers mentors and towards previous professional experience, pedagogical and psychological training for clinical mentors. Most EFM members countries have developed initiatives at different levels, mainly at the local and national level, that support the development of highly qualified mentors. And the EFM members are playing a crucial role in driving most of these initiatives. But of course, there is still many challenges. These are mainly related to the type of ongoing initiatives that support the development of mentors, which are different quite extensively in scope and in type of initiative, and also their effectiveness will need to be assessed in the coming years, because at this stage it is not clear, it cannot be assessed yet. There is very few countries that at the current state of affairs have a national competitive framework, which is an important factor limiting consistency and quality of the delivery of mentorship. And of course, across Europe, mentors are facing many challenges which are preventing effectively the provision of high qualified mentorship, including shortages, the lack of incentives and resources, including recognition, and insufficient education and training for mentors. Then, of course, EFN has developed some recommendations to the EU and the member states to ensure that the provision of highly qualified mentors. And while I will not go necessarily into all of them, of course, we need all the member states need to implement frameworks that regulate education and training of mentors, building on existing good practices. We need to have national competitive frameworks that build on existing good practices. We have some examples from the UK, for example. At the EU level, we also need a new competitive framework which can build on existing good practices, like the deliverables of the EU project Qualment, which already developed a framework, a competitive framework for mentors. Of course, the national government should work closely with the EFM members to implement initiatives. And then they should also regulate not only the education of mentors, but also the way mentorship is delivered, putting in place adequate quality assurance mechanisms to ensure that the mentorship reflects the expectations and the needs of the students. Of course, then we need funding, and that's always the issue. So thank you. This was just my short presentation, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Yeah. I think we'll have time for questions at the end. Manuel, anyone else? Someone want to just ask a brief question at this stage? Thank you so much. It's very heartening to know how much the European Federation is doing for nursing across Europe, from Iceland to Kamchatka, from Greenland to Israel, I think, certainly the Balkans and Turkey. So yes, that's amazing.
Well, our membership includes all the EU countries plus the countries that are currently negotiating EU membership. Yes. So it goes to the Balkans and it goes to Northern Europe for sure. Yes. But then it doesn't extend to the Eastern Mediterranean and to Central Asia, to Central Europe.
I see. Yes, I see. That's for WHO Euro. they're doing that. But it's fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I believe it's your turn to be introducing Nicola, and if Natasha is here, let's see Nicola first.
Okay, I will start with Nicola. So let me introduce Nicola. Nicola is a student from Poland who is a master student from the Medical University of Lodz. I had the pleasure to meet her in Brussels this spring for the EFN General Assembly, where she came to represent the students from Poland. It was an absolute pleasure to meet her. She's a brilliant young professional, and I look forward to our short presentation now.
Hello, thank you for your introduction. I'm very honored to be here. I will start with my part. As it was said, my name is Nicola. I'm master's nursing student from Poland. And my goal in nursing practice is to provide holistic professional care to patients and support their physical and mental well-being. What motivates me the most in this profession is the ability to make real difference in people's lives. Often small gestures, empathy, and simply being present in difficult moments help patients feel safer, more confident, and hopeful. Seeing progress in treatment and the gratitude in the eyes of patients and their families brings me a deep sense of satisfaction. Another important motivator is the pursuit of fair and dignified compensation for the responsible, demanding, and often underappreciated work of nurses. Adequate remuneration and not only improves nurses' quality of life, but also enhances the prestige of the profession and has a positive impact on the quality of healthcare services. Based on my current academic experience, I can identify both strengths and areas for improvement. My strengths include teamwork skills, empathy, and effective communication with patients, as well as solid theoretical foundation in clinical care. One of the major advantages of nursing studies in Poland is the extensive amount of practical training, at least 2,300 hours conducted across various hospital departments, which gives us a broad and realistic perspective on clinical work. However, there are also noticeable gaps. We lack sufficient exposure to high-pressure situations, such as emergency departments or operating theaters. Another challenge is the long academic days, sometimes up to 12 hours of lectures, which can be physically and mentally exhausting. Moreover, although we learn about modern technologies and nursing supporting equipment in theory, we rarely have access to them during training or clinical placements due to limited availability. To bridge these gaps, we need more simulation sessions or practical training, especially in high intensity areas. Mentoring and shadowing experiences nurses would also be extremely beneficial. Additionally, we should have access to training in e-health and modern technologies, and nursing education programs must receive increased funding, particularly to upgrade and update practical training facilities and labs. At this stage of my nursing journey, I need support in building confidence and gaining more hands-on clinical experience. Although I am already working at the department, I am a fresh nurse, so I will still need gain more experience. I am fortunate to have university lecturer as my mentor, someone who shares her professional experience and inspires me to grow. My support system also includes my family, friends, and fellow students, all of whom understand the challenges of studying nursing and provide ongoing encouragement. One of the greatest challenges currently facing our healthcare system is the shortage of nursing staff and the resulting workload burden. Additionally, as I see in Poland, many nursing graduates are unable to work in their preferred departments due to insufficient job openings. The number of available positions is often determined by hospital management and does not reflect the actual needs of patients or staff, which negatively affects working conditions and care quality. Despite these difficulties, I believe that students can be a driving force for positive change. We should inspire future generations to choose nursing as a career path and be agents of innovation, bringing modern technologies and up-to-date knowledge into practice, while also learning from the experience of senior nurses who act as our mentors and role models. From my perspective, the future of nursing lies in increased autonomy, specialization, and integration with modern technology and digital health systems. Nurses will no longer be seen only as executors of orders, but also as leaders who actively shape health policies and healthcare strategies. Globally, nurses can model leadership by engaging in international organizations such as ICN or EFN, by educating both local and global communities, and by promoting public health and preventive care. Nursing has tremendous potential to positively influence the quality of life worldwide, and I'm proud to be part of this mission. Thank you.
Manuel?
So thank you so much, Nicola. That was a very beautiful presentation. And of course, as always, thank you for your contribution also to EFN. I would like now to introduce Natasha, who's a nursing student who is about to near the end of her studies. And she's also the student representative within the Royal College of Nursing in the UK. I also had the pleasure to meet her in Brussels, and also with her, her input to the nursing to EFN was crucial, and I look forward to continue to work with her also in the coming months and years.
Hello, thank you for that introduction. So I want to start by saying that I am, as mentioned, the representative of nursing students in the United Kingdom. That is for countries, that's Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and the British territories such as Bermuda and the Channel Islands, as well as England. But my nursing journey is very much reflective of England, and between the nations we have different journeys. But I represent all of them. And we also have a very unique where we have the degree apprentice route and the degree route into nursing. So as we discussed last month, it's complicated in England, but it works. So for me, the meaning and purpose of my nursing practice is much more than a profession. It's a platform for advocacy and inclusion and social change. My nursing practice is rooted in the belief that everyone, patients, healthcare professionals alike, deserves to be heard, respected, and cared for with dignity. I myself am a disabled student nurse, and I'm deeply passionate about representing disabled voices both within the profession and as patients. This passion has very much been developed by my work with the Royal College of Nursing and the advocacy work I've done inside and outside of clinical settings. As mentioned, I currently serve as the Royal College of Nursing's Student Committee Chair, and I've previously been on the Eastern Region Board as well. And again, these positions have given me the platform needed to influence and encourage change and development of nursing. But what really motivates me is a drive to fight systematic change, to break down barriers and ensure that nursing is a profession where everyone can thrive. I'm inspired every day by the strength of those that I represent and the knowledge that we have together. And at the minute, I'm in the middle of the Royal College of Nursing 2025 Congress, and today is our student day. And I've heard from over 400 students about what's going well, what's doing well, what's going wrong, and just watching their passion and how excited they are and willing to fight for change for the patients, for themselves, is truly brilliant. While my academic journey has equipped me with strong theoretical foundations of communication skills, though I do speak fast, as some of you will notice, I apologise, it's clear there's been critical gaps within the current education system, particularly when it comes to placements and real-world participation. We have to do 2,300 practical, but that includes 600 simulation hours, then 2,300 theoretical to pass. At the minute, a lot of our universities are facing mass redundancies, as are our hospitals. We do not have the staff to theoretically and safely support us with our training, and our education is suffering as a part of that, and that is something we have been advocating for a lot this week. One of the most pressing issues, though, is the inconsistency in placement quality and placement experience, and that changes from wherever you go across the UK. Some placements are incredibly supportive and some lack structure, clear learning objectives, and we are used to fill the numbers. So we'd go in expecting to be a student nurse and you'd be treated as a healthcare support worker and not doing what we need to be trained. Another major gap is the disconnect between what we're taught in the classroom and what we experience when we're in clinical practice. This inconsistency can leave students feeling unprepared and unsure of how to apply theoretical knowledge effectively, And one example for this, which I talk about a lot and have done this week, is for final year students like myself who qualifies in 4 weeks, I've still not done cannulation or venipuncture, which is a basic nursing skill. And that is concerning. To bridge these gaps, though, I do believe that universities and healthcare trusts should collaborate more closely to ensure a standardised, high-quality placement experience. And I'm currently working on a plan to get a skills passport created so that the universities and the placement providers can see what training the students have done in preparation for their practical placement. Reflection is a fundamental part of my nursing journey, both professionally and personally. I'm a big fan of reflection journals, and at the end of the day, just writing down what's gone well and what's not gone well, so it's out of my head and I can sleep. And that is something that I've taken along with me throughout my nursing degree. Writing about my experiences, especially the challenging ones, it helps me process emotionally and mentally. As we're all aware, nursing globally, it's hard and it's a very difficult time, and we're still recovering post-pandemic, and we're still adapting to the changes of today's needs. I'm very lucky that I have a very good support network and a lot of mentors. I have my university mentor, my placement mentor, but then with the RCN, I've got mentors and I've got people I can speak to and go to. And I've been extremely supported throughout my journey, and I've had a very, truly amazing journey. But then I also have my support system, which includes my family and my friends and my cat. I can't ignore her. Some of the biggest challenges in healthcare and the role of student nurses at the minute is the lack of newly qualified jobs. Many of my peers who graduated 4 weeks still haven't got a job, and it isn't that there isn't any jobs, it's there's no funding for these jobs. So we are facing mass nurse shortages and staffing shortages, and we can't fill those gaps because there's no money to pay the nurses and the student nurses, or there's not enough qualified nurses to support student nurses during their preceptorship year. Again, this is an issue which we've been discussing at great length today at the RCN Congress. I discussed it yesterday, and I will most likely be talking about it again tomorrow. The truth is that if we do not find a way to provide our students gaps, our NHS is going to fall apart and our healthcare system is going to fall apart, and it's going to impede on the public health outcomes. Students are also navigating through the rising living costs, long unpaid placements, and the academic pressure. We have students who are on placement 37.5 hours a week, and on top of that, we're doing an extra 20 to 30 hours of paid work. We're not having days off. You could be on a placement for 14 weeks and you're working every single day just to survive. This is something that I spoke about today in front of Congress, and is a resolution that has now been passed moving forward, and we're going to be putting together a working group to develop this in the next year. As a RCN member and as a student nurse, I use my platform and my privilege to shout about these and speak publicly about the negatives that's going on. Because whilst nursing is an amazing career, and I would always recommend it to anyone who's thinking about it, I have to be realistic about the problems that students are facing. And through this, we have developed 2 new campaigns. So we are launching working groups.
Excuse me, Natasha, please summarize in.
Thank you. Sorry.
You have so much to say. I'm trying to put it all into place in your time.
That's fine. So I'll move on to the last part. So for us in the UK, global leadership would be every nurse having a platform, every nurse knowing and being able to successfully advocate for everyone, and being able to change along with how the country is changing.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you. What you're doing and the modeling you're doing is very important. If we had more time, perhaps we'll have some time in the question period.
Yeah, I'm very happy to share my speech with you guys to put around publicly, because I'm going to leave early because I've got another emergency item to do. I'm literally jumping between the 2 today.
Okay, Natasha, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to working with you guys again.
You're welcome. So now we were fortunate to be able to segue straight away to the King College London and Professor Mary Malone, who is the vice Dean of Education, Florence Nightingale Faculty of Nursing, Midwifery and Palliative Care. And I'm sure Mary, you are resonating to what Natasha just shared, as well as your students. You're welcome for your opening remarks. Professor Mary
Thank
Malone.
you. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Deborah Marie. My name is Mary Malone. I'm the Vice Dean for Education in the Florence Nightingale Faculty of Nursing, Midwifery and Palliative Care and Professor of Nursing. And I think the first thing I'd like to say is just a massive thank you for inviting me and Tuba and Isha here this afternoon for us, morning for others, to hear thoughts from other colleagues from across the globe. It's a real privilege, and it's just great to be here and to share with you all. So I thought it might be useful to say a little bit about me. So my background is in nursing and midwifery and in health visiting, which is a form of public health nursing that we have in the UK, which means really working for social equity and working with children and families in their own homes. I came into education in 1998, and I came into this particular job as Vice Dean for Education in 2022. And I have to say, it's the best job I've ever had. And the reason it's the best job I've ever had is that, as Anne-Marie has said, in the faculty, we draw directly on the inheritance of Florence Nightingale. And we have Anne-Marie, who is leading us, I think, in thought and was at once our executive dean. As she said, we pride ourselves in offering our students an evidence-based education in nursing and midwifery and palliative care, one that draws on data, but inspires action, and action that's based in compassion and caring. And as Anne-Marie said, we want our students, and I know from those who are here this afternoon, we want them to be able to take their place at the table, whichever table they choose it to be, whether it's the policy table or the clinical table or the management table or the academic table, and to have a strong and coherent voice there. And I can say that both of the colleagues who are with me this afternoon, I have absolutely no doubt that they will be able to do that. And we've heard from Natasha how much we all need to be doing that in nursing. So I'd like to then start by introducing Tuba Ansari. Tuba is a third-year adult nurse in our faculty based at one of our large London partner teaching hospitals. And Tuba has an academically excellent career. In addition to it, she is also the chair of our Nightingale Council. And that's how I've come to know Tuba. And I can, from first-hand experience, tell you that she has intellectual skills in gathering data from other students about what's important to them, in presenting that data at really high-level faculty fora, at being heard in a very neutral but very determined way, and at following through, so that she makes sure that everything she brings to that table gets seen to and gets addressed. And those are rare qualities, and they're qualities which are greatly appreciated. So I think without any further ado, I'm going to hand you over now to Tuba Ansari, who's going to tell us about her view of nursing. Tuba.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Mary, for that beautiful introduction. So my name is Tuba Ansari, and as mentioned, I'm currently a final year adult nursing student at King's College London, and I'm also a Band 3 healthcare assistant at Guy's and St. Thomas NHS Foundation Trust, which is one of the leading learning hospitals that we have included within our clinicals placements areas. And I'm honored to share my reflections with you today. I believe nursing is more about more than critical care. It's about presence. One of my earliest experiences as an HCA involved caring for an old lady who was often alone and nonverbal. While attending to her physical needs, I also made time to sit and simply hold her hand. Over the several weeks I was on placement, she began responding with a smile to my presence. That smile that small connection reminded me why I chose this profession, to provide both physical and emotional care. What motivates me now is the belief that every patient deserves to feel seen, heard, and valued, no matter how busy or pressured the environment. King's College London has given me a strong foundation in evidence-based practice and interdisciplinary collaboration. My placements, ranging from acute medical wards to rehabilitation, have strengthened my clinical decision-making and patient-centered care skills. However, like many students, I've noticed the gap between theory and complex realities of modern healthcare. We often practice ideal scenarios and simulations, but real world settings require rapid prioritization, resilience, advocacy, and understaffed or resource limited situations. To bridge this gap, we need more mentorship during clinical placements and structured reflection sessions to help us process and learn from challenges. Self reflection has been central to my growth. I regularly assess what I did well, where I struggled, and how I can improve, a habit I developed both as a student nurse and as a healthcare assistant. Right now, I need opportunities to develop leadership and delegation skills as I prepare to transition into a Band 5 nurse. My mentor is a senior deputy sister at St. Thomas Hospital, and I also lean on my Nightingale Student Council peers, staff nurses, and my family for support. This diverse support system reminds me that growth is a shared journey. Staffing shortages are one of the greatest challenges, not just for patient safety, but for staff well being. As students, we can advocate for safe staffing policies and share our frontline experiences, support peer mentorship programs to ease the transition for new nurses. And we can also finally promote mental health resources and open dialogue about burnout. We may be students, but our voices can influence policy and culture. The future of nursing is one where nurses are not just caregivers, but innovators, educators, and leaders in shaping healthcare systems. We must embrace technology, cultural competence, and interdisciplinary collaboration. Global leadership means modeling adaptability, ethical practice, and compassion, not only in our own wards, but by also addressing global health inequalities and supporting sustainability in healthcare. I'm excited to contribute to the SNVSS follow-up forums and align my practice with the WHO's strategic directions, particularly advancing education, leadership, and service delivery for a resilient future. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to learning from all of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tuba. I think we'll have questions at the end. I think that's right. So thank you, Tuba. And I'd now like to introduce Isha Sidera. Isha is also a third year adult nursing student at King's. And from her very first year, Isha has been involved in student issues, working as a student ambassador and supporting student engagement and promoting nursing as a dynamic and rewarding career path. In her second year, and this was when I met Isha, she became the secretary of the Nightingale Student Council, where she has made a significant contribution to how we look at particular parts of teaching and learning. And most particularly and recently in her third year as vice chair, taking part in a complete re-examination of assessment and feedback, and indeed establishing through a grant which she won from King's College a citizens jury where academics and students will sit together as equal partners in looking at assessment, strategy, feedback, and everything to do with how we teach and learn. Isha is also an honoured recipient of the Perseverance Trust Scholarship, which supports high achieving students who exceed academic expectations. And she was awarded a Student Partnership Impact Award by the Staff and Educational Development Association in recognition of her achievements around assessment and feedback. Beyond the university setting, Isha is also a proud member of the British Sikh nurses community, supporting community outreach and culturally sensitive health promotion and public education, and her professional interests include women and children's health, and she has, I know, a growing focus on research and on health policy. I'm glad to say that she's noted by how to explore evidence-based practice and also how we can develop policy that will give an equitable chance to healthcare. Over to you, Isha.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much, Mary, for that lovely introduction. So yes, my name is Isha, and I'm a final year adult nursing student at King's College London. I'm very honoured and really excited to share my nursing story with you today. So for me, the purpose of nursing lies in advocacy and connection. Early in my training, in an ambulatory emergency care unit, I met a lady who was being investigated for abnormal PV bleeding. I noticed that she was anxious, quiet, and alone. The clinical care moved quite quickly, with the tests ordered and forms completed, but no one had investigated her emotional well-being. So I sat beside her, I offered her a drink, and I asked her if she'd like to talk whilst waiting for her results. From that, she unveiled her fears, not just about her results, but about what this might mean for her fertility, her relationships, and her everyday life. And that short conversation reminded me that so much of women's health happens in silence. The emotional and personal complexity of the situation is often invisible to the systems designed to treat it. And that moment showed me that nursing isn't just about clinical interventions, it's about presence and advocacy. And that's what continues to motivate me, to hold space for elements of care that aren't displayed in a set of observations, but make all the difference to someone's experience. One of the biggest academic strengths I've seen is how we're taught to adapt. Nursing education trains us to think critically, act quickly, and care holistically. I've gained experience in a wide range of clinical settings, from dermatology to theatres and to emergency care, and that diversity has helped shape my confidence and enhance my interest in different specialties. Although sometimes our education can feel task-oriented, focusing more on completing practice hours than on deeper reflection or growth in areas such as health policy, research, or clinical confidence. We also need more inclusive training around women's health and culturally responsive care. And to bridge these gaps, I believe students must be invited to co-designing the curriculum. When students feel heard, education becomes more relevant and beneficial. At this stage, I'm interested in contributing to policy and research, not just in theory, but by being at the table where decisions are made. I want to learn how to challenge systems and influence change beyond the bedside. Students need clearer pathways and support for further studies. I've been really lucky to have incredible mentors, not only experienced nurses and lecturers, but also my family and peers who have reminded me time and time again that growth comes from an open mind, working alongside my own values and taking each day as it comes. My support system is made up of my family, peers, lecturers, and the British Sikh nurses community who have taught me how care extends beyond clinical settings into cultural and social spheres. One of the biggest challenges I see in healthcare today is the growing pressure on patients and staff. Underfunded services, poor working conditions, and rising demands are impacting the quality of care, stretching teams way beyond capacity. Many student nurses face financial hardship, covering travel costs to placements while balancing studies, part-time work, childcare, and living expenses, which affects well-being and limits access to opportunities like further training or advanced clinical roles. As students, we can contribute to change by advocating for fair funding and protected learning time. We must support wellbeing initiatives and peer networks in clinical settings. Utilise student leadership roles, such as our Nightingale Student Council, to raise concerns and shape better conditions for the future. The future of nursing is intersectional and global. We need nurses who are not just skilled clinicians, but also researchers, educators, and policy shapers. Nurses who challenge inequities, question outdated norms, and collaborate internationally. Global leadership doesn't require a title. It starts with how we lead our own communities, whether that's advocating for safer staffing, addressing health inequalities, or mentoring the next generation. We already have the skills. What we need is the confidence to take up space, in boardrooms, in government, and in global health forums. To me, being a nurse is about walking into difficult spaces and staying, listening deeply, and acting boldly. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow, Isha, well, you and Tuba are phenomenal models for us, for today, for our session, but also for your part of the world and also for the world. Thank you so much. Now this leads us to adding a layer of music and video to this session. The Nightingale Initiative for Global Health has prepared 3 music videos for this International Nurses Week. And right now we're going to be showing one of them called See the Person Who is a Nurse. This was a video shaped by our friend Sandra Mosan, who attended by digital means the session from Southeast Asia. She was so inspired by one of the speakers who are like all of you. What she said inspired Sandra to do this free verse poem, which we have put to music to share for about 3 minutes. Francesco?
See the person. The person who is the nurse. The person, nurse, is the artist. The person, nurse, is the healer. See the person who is the patient. The person, patient, who is ill. The person, patient, who is seeking wellness. Together, they create a bond. A healing energy. Which can be experienced universally. The transpersonal unity of both nurse and patient is a holistic bond uniting the mind, the body, the spirit, and the soul. Remember, nursing is not just a job, it is a blessing. A gift. A calling.
Thank you so much, Francesco. As perhaps you've noticed, the narrator for this video was our own Maria Teresa Tess Panazales, who's listening. We'll be hearing from her again. And also to say, this video so reflects what you've been saying, and it's wonderful to be sharing it with you. Now, is Dr. McConan with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
Oh, good. Welcome, Dr. McConan.
Thank you.
Christina McConan is
Yes, you can call me Christina.
Christina, Professor of Health Sciences, Research Unit of Health and Sciences and Technology at the Faculty of Medicine at University of Oulu in Finland. Thank you so much, Dr. McConan. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And it's so nice to meet everybody here online. Such an interesting event to have connecting people in the north of Europe, but also understood that this has been ongoing already around the globe. So this is really, really great idea. Yeah, so I'm Christina. We call in Scandinavia ourselves by first name, very rarely by surname. I'm a registered nurse, just as many as are here today in the meeting. And my background as a nurse, or the calling as a nurse, actually started from very early age of the teenager, where I have educated myself or studied to become a nurse in Germany, and later on worked in Germany and worked in UK. I worked in Finland, so I have worked in many countries. And then later on, as a nursing scientist, I have also worked in Japan and Slovenia. So I find that internationally we have a lot of connection, and what connects us as nurses is this holistic care, a human-centeredness. And what I have learned as a nurse, and nowadays a nursing science professor, is that developing nursing by researching and bringing that evidence-based healthcare, emphasizing why we take care of patients and making choices in the right way is very important. When I have been working as a nurse, I always worked in acute trauma care. And what has brought to me a lot of meaning has been my students. So from the beginning, when I was still a student, I started mentoring younger students, and mentoring and clinical learning has become one of the very important tasks, which I have later explored also by studying nursing science. And of course, I encourage all of you, those who are at the beginning of nursing, not to stop there, but develop yourself and grow in your competence. I'm lucky enough now to even have my own lab, Healthcare Education and Competence Lab, where we are developing healthcare education and researching that on the daily basis. And I'm really proud today to present my two researchers, two doctoral candidates who are becoming PhDs in nursing science, Adam Graham and Paula Ropponen. I have met Adam through online conversations, and we have started talking about palliative care. So Adam is very deep expert. He has expertise in palliative care, and at the moment Adam is doing his research, his doctoral degree on the palliative care education. And Adam will tell you a little bit more about his experience. Adam is also a very active researcher in my lab. We have a big group of multidisciplinary research. We are conducting research together with other scientists to improve nursing education. And Adam is one of our researchers who is caring and is always making sure that everybody gets the support that is needed in the lab. So Adam, welcome. Please introduce yourself and tell your story.
Thanks, Christina. So firstly, by introducing my current work in nursing science, I want to introduce something, what I call the moment. And it's been mentioned a few times by a few different people. This is something that occurs on the journey of becoming and being a nurse. And I'm confident that the majority of nurses, and especially those who have pursued a speciality, can describe their moment. The moment is an event either experienced or witnessed, and it changes their nursing path, or it reaffirmed their decision to embark on this journey. This moment's likely to be ingrained in their memory, with details and circumstances clear as the day that it happened. This moment can come at any time, doesn't have to be at the beginning of the journey, but mine occurred very early on, and it was during my final placement in my first year as a student nurse. I was on an elderly female medical ward, and it's where I witnessed a palliative care specialist speaking to a patient about how there was no more treatment options available for her, and asking what her preference was for her end of life care. He did this so compassionately and so appropriately that at the end of the conversation, she enthusiastically thanked him for talking about it. And this absolutely amazed me. How could you be thanked for talking about death? I wanted to find out more about this palliative care from that point on. I then sought out as many experiences and opportunities as I possibly could during my time as a student to learn about this field of nursing that I'd never heard before. And this ended up leading me to have a passionate drive for this area of nursing and a desire to promote, educate, and open up this nursing world to others. There was a very traditional view that working in palliative care or in a hospice was for nurses who are heading towards retirement, that it wouldn't develop your clinical skills, and it involves mainly hand-holding. My passion and motivation has been for promoting an understanding of palliative care and emphasizing the need for exceptional clinical assessment and treatment through educating and developing nurses' competencies in palliative care. And this has ultimately led me to the pursuit of PhD research in palliative care education to address the issues of palliative care education is inadequate. The lack of nursing placement and opportunities in palliative care has reduced the experiences of undergraduate nurses. And undergraduate nurses lack confidence when transitioning to professional nurse, and they lack competence in delivering appropriate palliative care. My work contributes to delivering the WHO commitment to integrating provision of palliative care into health services through education and training and through research. If you have one chance to get it right, which is a phrase that's used in the UK for palliative care, you've got one chance to get it right. The consequences of not getting it right for the patient, for the family members, and for the nurses themselves delivering that care can be significant and long-lasting. So I'm asking the questions, can digital technology support in bridging the gap and give meaningful and appropriate experiences in the complex nursing field of palliative care? Recreating clinical experiences in the simulation lab is not new practice. One of our students mentioned that I think it's 600 hours of simulation practice goes towards clinical hours in the UK. So it's not new practice, but digital and especially immersive technology gives us the opportunity to easily repeat scenarios and situations, overcoming those time and space constraints. Digital and immersive technology may present the possibility of repeating complex and difficult scenarios to learn, improve, and adjust to develop students' confidences through learning in a stress-free environment. And just finally, if palliative care is a basic human right, and educators have an obligation to prepare nurses to enter the workforce with confidence, then we must find solutions to delivering comprehensive and appropriate palliative care education that's practical and financially viable to achieve. And I really, truly hope that my research will bring new evidence and a new way of delivering palliative care education to the nursing profession. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam, so much for expressing also your expertise in this talk. Really, really important and very insightful. Thank you. And then I'm going to introduce you to my next researcher, nursing scientist Paula Ropponen. Paula is very passionate and kind, also working as an educator at the Ave University of Applied Sciences. She has a deep experience educating culturally and linguistically diverse nursing students and also guiding nurses. Her research is focusing on culturally and linguistically diverse nurses, critical thinking and well-being. She's also doing her doctoral studies, and I'm very, very proud of her. She's going to defend her work probably already this year. She has been developing technology in also virtual reality and testing that on the CALS nursing students. So welcome, Paula, and please share your story with us.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the invitation and for you, Christina, for introducing me so nicely. It's a great honor to be here, as I told earlier on. In this short talk, I share some of my experience as a nurse and nursing educator and researcher. So for the background, as Christina told, and actually Adam was talking about the moment, I think my moment was right in the beginning when I graduated. As a newly graduated nurse, I moved to London to work on surgical wards, and most of my colleagues were from different parts of the world, and London was like a melting pot of cultures. I really enjoyed it, stayed there for a couple of years. And I then moved to southwest of France to work in a tiny, tiny countryside hospital in the recovery and operating theaters. Some colleagues of mine were of a foreign background, but I was actually the only non-native French speaker there. So I really got to know what it's like to be a foreign nurse in healthcare. And with these 10 years of experience, surgical experience, I returned to Finland. And then for the first time, I got to be the native speaker with some culturally and linguistically diverse nursing colleagues and students, whom I would be calling like CAL students, CAL nurses from now on. So it's just not me working abroad and moving in foreign countries. Nurse mobility has been increasing in last years, as we all know. And my experience stayed under my skin. So when I became health sciences teacher, I wanted to give back some of the support I received to those new nurses going through similar sort of experiences. So I got to teach international nursing students, and it was natural for me to do my doctoral research on the same topic. The main challenge CAL nursing students face is the foreign language, obviously, and the culture. It's hard to get the clinical practice place when you don't speak the language well enough. And the practice can be interrupted in the middle as well due to communication problems. And the communication skills affect also job opportunities after graduation. So what could be done then? The first thing is that the language should be understood as part of the learning process in the clinical practices. Therefore, the CAL nursing students should have language and communication learning goals as well, in addition to clinical goals. And if you think about CAL nursing students preparing for patient guidance or documenting the patient care or being part of an operating team, for example, it's not just about content, it's a lot about professional terminology and communication and teamwork. So learning professional communication should be taken into account in education and in practical or clinical practices. So the nursing language, like professional slang and terminology and so on, is learned in authentic nursing environments. And most naturally, it would be the clinical practice place, but it's probably the best place to learn the language. But the simulation used in nursing education is a good one as well. And nowadays, more and more often, it could be VR simulation or other digital technologies, such as artificial intelligence, whose full potential we do not yet know. We have studied the use of VR simulation to develop CAL nursing students' critical thinking and self-confidence with good results. Students learn, they like the way of learning, and actually they learn the culture as well. And they learn the communication as well. But they say they need more time because they're doing the simulation in a foreign language or developing language. So the advantage of VR simulation and serious games in general is that they can be repeated as many times as needed. Students can take all the time they need to go through that one single simulation. It's really student-centered. And potentially students could virtually practice specialties that they can't access during their studies otherwise. And there is evidence that actually part of the clinical practice could be replaced by VR simulations, but not all of it, obviously. You can't replace the patient encounter completely. But my point is that VR simulations are well used in clinical learning clinical skills and clinical knowledge, but they could be better, VR simulations could be better used in learning professional and interprofessional communication to help these nursing students to learn the communication skills. I expect a lot to happen in this field in the coming years. That's maybe my point this time. Thanks for the opportunity to be here and on such an important platform. It was a great pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you so much, almost Dr. Paula, almost Dr. Adam, and Dr. Christina. From your perspective, it's remarkable to have on this platform a range between people who are teaching students still as graduate students themselves, and to have students who are in undergrad experiences, working in perhaps a more, let's say, in the Europe setting, a smaller place called Yerevan in Armenia. And that leads us to our next group of people from I always have trouble with this, the Erebuni Medical Academy in Yerevan. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to be introducing a friend who has been with us as an advisor and colleague for more than 10 years, Dr. Alina Kushkayan, who is the founder of the Erebuni Medical Academy and the former director of the Armenian American Medical College Erebuni. Dr. Alina, over to you.
Thank you very much for introduction, Deva, and thank you very much for this invitation and for this opportunity to share with our new friends, our ideas and our experience. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all nurses with the International Nurses Day and wish good health and good energy and safety for all nurses, because this is a very important resource for healthcare, not only for each country, but around the globe. My background, I'm a doctor, but in my country, on that time, no any other education for the nurses, and by the law, they can nurses be the deans. That's why I'm as a doctor, and my specialization in healthcare management and public health, I understand how important this human resource for the healthcare and how important to develop nursing in my country and develop the nursing education. And we beginning the big nursing reform in Armenia and established 3-year program on nursing, 4-year baccalaureate program. And it's like for my country, it's a revolutionary big success, and also continuing education. Now I can say we are working according by the each changes which is in Europe and in United States according with the development of nursing. And also I would like to say what I like as a founder of the new medical academy. It's today it's a great joy for me be today and share our ideas. And we establish Erebuni Medical Academy with a clear mission to raise a new generation of skilled and compassionate healthcare professionals. From the beginning, our focus has been not only on strong medical or nursing education, but also for us it's very, very important developing human values, kindness, responsibility, and leadership, which is very important for the nurses. And we believe that the healing happens when science and empathy work together. Leading the academy has been one of the most meaningful joy of my life. It has required vision, the teamwork, and dedication, but most of all, belief in the students who will one day change the future of healthcare and change the healthcare in a better side. And why not change the whole life of people on better side? Every success story from our academy reminds me why we started and why we must continue to invest in quality education, innovation, and support for young professionals. Today, I am happy and to also introduce here our students also. It's a great joy for us because we are collaborating with the Florence Nightingale Initiative for Global Health almost many years. And our students had the opportunity to have their presentation and share their stories and ideas and translate on Armenian language words for Florence Nightingale and put in a link of your website. I would like to say we know the future of healthcare is future nursing. Future students, our students, it's our future, our professionals, and who make the challenges in healthcare. And now with me, my two students, and I'm happy to introduce one of them, Manan Gasparian, who represent the strength and spirit of our academy. Manan is a dedicated student who carries our values with pride and has a bright future and ahead in nursing. Manan now study in a third year in our academy. She is very enthusiastic student and participate and in different seminars, debates, and believe me, the ideas of the students is fantastic. And we are like as administration and teachers, sometime we are learn and from our students, and we establish in our academy atmosphere of the like a family, and our students very free. And I know now with talking and I listen many, it's the future of the healthcare, the technology. It's very important, and maybe it's a dream for us to have a fantastic simulation labs and others. But on the same time, when you have limited resources, you're beginning to thinking much more fast and maybe innovative. That's why we established the new methods of very interesting of teaching and involve maybe all students in our educational process. Anyway, now I would like to give for the speech to Manan.
Hello everyone, I am Manan Gaspana. I am studying nursing in Erebuni Medical Academy Foundation. Today I am going to speak about the aim of my nursing internship, about my motivation, strong sides, and so on. My first motivation is my wish to help people who are in need, and I understood it from a very young age. And the most important motivation is the right choice of my profession. I adore nursing and I am ready to continue this path all my life. The aim of my nursing internship is to bridge the gap between knowledges and practical experience. My goal is to develop clinical skills, improve my ability to work as a part of healthcare team, and build confidence in decision making under supervision. Additionally, I aim to between my understanding of patient-centered care, nurse engines patient in creating a care plan that reflects the patient's lifestyle, build phase, and personal goals. Based on my academic experience, I have noticed that it is essential to deepen technologist knowledge and to improve skills and the ability to help in the lifetime, to understand patients' need and show your reasons to help. A nurse should also be happy. Also to be able to perform correct nursing manipulations. The importance of nursing practice is the opportunity of performing these manipulations. I would like to mention that is my poor. I have mentioned in Erebuni Medical Academy Foundation, who gave me theological knowledge, and in Erebuni Medical Center, who are clinical nurses with great experience. Moreover, all these people who work in these both teams, they are my great supporters. And finally, what are my greatest challenges in the healthcare system? From my point of view, the most important challenge is that there shortage of nurses globally, as we have a growing population, which means train on long care.
No. Continue.
And palliative care services. Global health change, such as pandemic, COVID-19, and climate change, which requires nurses to have a perspective. Nurses will play key roles in global health interventions, responding on health emergencies and addressing health inequalities. Sorry,
Thank you.
I like personally, I'm a little shy.
Alina, can you introduce Lucy?
Yes, thank you very much, Manan, for your presentation. Now I would like to introduce my another former student. She graduated last year, Lucine Asadrian. She graduated baccalaureate program, and she was my excellent student. And during her education in our academy, she was always be very active student and involved in every webinar, every conference, and she was active member of student assembly and organized of different students activities and students debates and open doors for the population and share ideas, apply to us how we can to do more interesting the educational process, how we can to make much more enjoyable the education and more useful and productive. And she always show her dedication and be always in front of each challenges which we make. And she now continuing started her education in a medical university. She would like to be a doctor, but we talk with her. She will come back to our academy after her education, and she will teach to our students. We'll see which kind of topic much more close for her. And this also I want to say she's an active member of Sigma Theta Honor Society, International Honor Society of Nursing. And also she was always be very active in initiative of Florence Nightingale Initiative for Global Health, where she understand that we need our students need this communication with others university, because only this way for the progress, for going forward, develop education and integration of international educational society, and of course in nursing society. Please, Lucine.
Thank you so much, my dear director, Alina Kushkanjan. So hello, everyone. My name is Lucine Asadjan, and I'm honored to be here today as a student nurse, sharing my voice with all of you. For me, nursing is more than a career. It's a purpose. I chose this path because I believe in kindness, in care, and in standing beside people when they need us most. Every passion teaches me something new about strength, courage, and humanity. My studies have given me strong knowledge and practical skills, but I know that there is still so much more I want to learn, especially from a global perspective. That is why I'm currently seeking a scholarship to continue my nursing education in the United States. And I'm ready to take this next step, not only to advance my academic and professional journey, but also to bring back knowledge that can help improve healthcare in my own country and beyond. So what I need most right now is continued growth through mentorship, share stories like this, and the power of connection. So I'm grateful for the people who support me, especially my mentors and friends who remind me why I chose nursing. One of the biggest challenges I see is nurse burnout, and to solve this, we need better support systems, fair working conditions, and a stronger public voice to explain what nursing truly is. I believe that the future of nursing is global. Nurses are not just caregivers, we're leaders, advocates, and change makers. We must use our voices to lead with compassion and courage. So thank you for listening to my story, and thank you for being part of this journey, because together we're shaping the future of healthcare. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lucine, Dr. Alina, and Manon. It's wonderful to just continue our connections and for you to be expressing the visions that Nightingale shared with us and that we are carrying on. Thank you so much. Now we'll take another video break before our question and answer series. This video is a labor of love for me. It began with a prayer that I brought in the early 90s to a UN summit in Istanbul. And it also has a distinct music track that comes actually from Armenia, from the Armenian composer Iran Khachaturian. Francesco, if you could key up The Flame of Florence Nightingale's Legacy, our Nightingale Prayer. Today, our world needs healing and to be rekindled with love. Once Florence Nightingale lit her beacon of lamplight. To comfort the wounded. And her light has blazed a path across the century to us. Through her example and through the countless nurses and healers who have followed in her footsteps. Today, we celebrate Florence Nightingale's legacy of light. Let that same flame be rekindled to burn brightly in our hearts. Let us take up our own lanterns of caring. Each in our own ways, to more brightly walk our own paths of service to the world, to more clearly share our own noble purpose with each other. May human carry. Become the lantern for the 21st century. May we better learn to care for ourselves, for each other, and for all creation. That our spirits may burn brightly to kindle the hearts of our children and great-grandchildren. As they too follow in these footsteps. I'm always moved by this prayer that I was given to recite in 96, and also to just, again, to be moved by knowing that all of you are living into this vision for nursing and its role for the world. for your patients, for your families, for each other, for your nations, and for the world. Thank you for listening. Tess, are you with us yet? Tess likes to organize the questions. She's very good at it. Tess, are you there? Maybe not.
No. I'm actually here. I've been
Good.
listening
Yay.
on and off, and actually, I just, re-listened again. When you had the video or the prayer. So it was really great input from all our students across our Northern European countries, and really amazing to hear. Kind of like if you have to thread them all, what really astounds me that I wrote a little note for myself was they really felt the support that the university have provided to them. And the support, of course, that they get from their colleagues and plus their family. And indeed, it was really great to listen from one of our speakers, and I did reply to her to ask her if she's more than willing to share that narrative, that list that she was sharing with us. Let's see, what's her name? I think Natasha,
I think perhaps
because it was, yeah.
Natasha may
Yeah, go
not
ahead,
be
Eva.
with us. She had to leave early.
Yeah, she has kind of like a collated, information about the challenges that's being faced by our student nurses. And of course, to that as well, I can see how much time they have been given because there's limitations in their placements. And I know that skill sets is one of the things that we hope they wanted to have more, training in the clinical area just to really increase the skill sets so that they're far ready when they become professional nurses. And yeah, when they become professional nurses, yes. So that's really very important.
Yes, perhaps we could have representative from each of the nations.
Definitely.
Perhaps someone might ask a question and then have someone from another part of the world answer.
Yes, definitely, and that is really the thought of our Q&A. So we would like to ask. Okay, let's see. I'll touch upon, Armenia. Can you share with us what other recommendations would you have in order to strengthen nursing academia so that we are going to be, we'll be ready for the future as we see it right now?
Perhaps for Lucine. Lucine?
Lucine?
Yes. Could you please say this name again?
The question
Ask
again.
question. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm so
Hi,
sorry.
Lucine. No,
Hi.
don't be sorry. So Lucine, can you share with us insights on where can we strengthen our current nursing academic programs so it fits or it will best meet our future, our future needs as nurses because of all this technology and AI and everything else that's going on ahead of us?
Here are some valuable insights on how working on career programs in our academy that can shape successful future for students. First of all, I guess apply theory to real life seniors or something like that. Strengthen decision making, critical thinking skills, build confidence in handling medical cases, leadership and teamwork development. It is as well much important. Innovation and research involvement, networking and mentorship. These all are very important, and I think that we need to pay attention to all of this. And beside of this, we need to be like family. It's very important being a family. And in academia, we're a family. We support each other every day and may go higher and higher with that support.
That's really great. Dr. Kushkan?
Yes.
You have something to say, yeah?
Yes, I want. Now we are living in time when the technology is going forward very, very fast, and especially educational system we need for example, for us, for a country like as an Armenia, this is very important for us, that the technology for involve much more for when we are looking for AI or it will be now we see by the standards for in my country. Of course, the students they are going have a practice in good hospitals. We have a good privilege because just beside us, near a few meters, the best hospital in my city. And our students have a possibility to spend their clinical hours there. But
Dr. Alina, do you have a question?
No question. I answer a question.
Yes. Well, because this is a great segue back to our friends in Finland who are working just on this. Adam or Paula, would you like to speak to this? The sense of question, clearly what you're doing is still a mystery to many of us. How would you like to address? I'd love to have much more time to hear specifically all that you're doing. Just briefly respond to this need and this question.
Okay, so I think one of the main things with technology is for nursing is how it can deal with kind of complex situations. It's not that new. It's been used in nursing and medical fields for technical skills, especially for surgery, and for using actual technical skills. But the non-technical skills of things like clinical decision making, teamwork, communication, those kind of situations, and like what Paula's doing, the language and integration and things, that's where it needs development, and that's what we're working on now. But there are so many different fields that it can be used in. We need the evidence to make sure that it actually works. Yes, the technology is developing at a rapid pace, but the question is it developing in the right way? And that's what we're testing, and that's what we're researching.
That's really a great point, Adam. And I understand, you did mention language integration, and I would probably do a segue. Like when we talk about language integration, we also talk about cultural integration in order to be able to understand, because we're such a well-connected world right now that, we pass through different, from one country to the other, and the milieu has really changed. And I know that was one experience of one of our professors who, I think it was that from Finland, who spoke earlier on. So what about our other colleagues from, I think, let me see, I know the others may have gone out. Anyone else on the call who would like to share their insights? Yeah, Dr. Malone.
Hi, so thank you. I think I completely agree with what's been said. I suppose what interests me as someone whose main work is education is how could we possibly sort of mainstream the type of work that Adam's doing and that Paula's doing. And I understand we need the evidence that it works, but it strikes me that sort of just doing it is really important, looking at nursing and looking at research in nurse education in this particular way. And I think what we should do, I think what could do that would be if we really embraced the idea and the role of the clinical academic. And if we did that by promoting doctoral education for our new graduates who are interested. I think certainly in the UK, having a doctoral training tends to come much later in your career. And I think to embrace this new world of AI and the virtual world, we need people who are new to the profession, who have bright new ideas. We've heard them this evening, to get on those doctoral pathways, because they will then bring that in to our education and into the world of clinical practice, and they will bridge the two. And we've heard a lot this evening about how many divisions there are between the university and the clinical world, and they're voiced so eloquently, and they've been there for all of my career, and it's a sadness. So I think we need to think differently about how we look to bridge that. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Dr. Malone. I think we got Robert would like to share something.
Robert,
Yeah, I just saw that on the chat. Is that Robert?
Robert may not be on the panel. He's probably an attendee.
Okay.
Did he ask? Did he ask a question in the chat?
He said he would like to say something about our discussion. So he could share in the chat, and we could really bring it up to the audience as well.
Yes. So meanwhile, can we have perhaps from Nicola a Polish perspective again?
Yeah, from
all of this,
exactly. Yeah,
and also from Esha and Tuba. Nicola.
Can I add something about AI education?
Nicola, you're muted. Are you there?
Yes, I muted myself because Luzine started talking, so I will just wait my turn.
Let's have Nicola.
Just a traffic.
Nicola, by all means, speak. Share with us if you can.
Okay, my perspective on studies in Poland, right?
Yes, well, just on what we've been discussing, whatever you'd like to speak to briefly in this Q&A.
Really, I don't have any more key points to make.
Do you have any questions for the others?
No, I don't. Everything I needed to know was already said, so I don't have any more questions.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also to acknowledge that all of you are bilingual and working in many of you working in English is not your main language, and I much appreciate that. Tuba and Esha. Tuba?
Yeah, of course. I just wanted to add on that I agree with Dr. Malone in speaking of the enhancing in clinical academic roles for student nurses as well, and encouraging that pathway for students, whether it's included or involved in, your university or not. It should be something that should be looking into as a program, because many nurses, when they first start off, when we come to uni, sometimes nursing is not the end goal. We do want to further our education, and sometimes we may not, but for the most part, just being able to be encouraged from the moment on, from when we join the program, and then have the clinical resources where we are being encouraged by our peers, our colleagues, our professors, our lecturers. It can enhance just not only the environment in which we want to push and elevate our students to these roles, in which nursing can be, our voices can be heard and acknowledged, but also in a way where healthcare as a whole can be improved, and holistic person-centered care can really be advanced in its clinical way, and as well as our community, like Isha was mentioning, in terms of being a part of a larger community, and also being able to show to the world that healthcare is a lot more than just medical care and patient and nursing care, whereas opposed to holistic care overall. I also wanted to ask, obviously this is a discussion of topic that for many years we have gone on and off about, just regarding pay for student nurses, because that becomes a huge topic of concern at one point, regardless of who is paying that paycheck, or just even some type of bursary or trust or foundation, a scholarship option grant, where students are able to not only feel like that pressure of having to attend placements, attend lectures, attend these clinical hours for 3 consecutive or how many consecutive years while they're in the program, but also be able to, you know, feel as if they've earned their spot alongside the entire multidisciplinary team, because it becomes a factor of just, you know, sometimes being overlooked or being seen as another healthcare assistant, when in reality our jobs, our roles are a lot more than just being a healthcare assistant. Not to you know, downplay the roles of a healthcare assistant, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. Just makes me think about how, certain professions have their skills factored or attached into a coding, a reimbursement system, like each of the tasks that they do, whereas nursing never had that. We never had that, attachment. But nonetheless, to your point, yeah, this is something that is worth looking at, and hopefully someone would be able to look further in such a way that it could be brought forward into a policy table discussion. Yeah, thank you, Tuba. Lucy?
Yeah, I'm here. I just wanted to add something about shaping the future with AI.
Mhm.
So today's academic programs are not just like about textbooks or like clinical rotations. They're about innovation. And by integrating AI into our learning environments, we're like preparing for a future where technology and human compassion go hand to hand. So it's very important. And as future doctors and nurses, our role isn't just to use AI, it's to lead with it. And for example, asking hard questions, keep empathy in the center at the same time. And I think it's very important. And because the future of healthcare isn't just like artificial, it's intelligent, and at the same time, it's deeply human.
Yeah.
I wanted to add that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it really brings us back to what Florence Nightingale have really brought forward for nursing. And again, it also dovetails with what nursing is both science and art. And, I always look up, yes, there's a science of it, but there's that art within us. And that
Yeah.
art is also part
Mhm.
of our emotions.
Sure.
Diva?
Yes, thank you. It's I'm always so awed by this range of representing nursing so very well in 2 hours across Northern Europe, across the world, and just and the common ground that that we hear you sharing in these sessions, in this session. Now, we haven't heard back from Esha, and we haven't heard, well, who else? Anyway, Esha, and possibly maybe Manuel wants to speak a bit to all
No,
of
Diva.
Yes.
Esha just raised her hands,
Oh,
and
good.
Dr. Christina has also raised
Oh,
her
good, good,
hands
good.
earlier. So let's start with Esha.
Hi, thank you so much. To add to the discussion, I definitely think earlier exposure to things like research and health policy earlier on in the degree or academic pathway would really help and facilitate students to expand their knowledge of what nursing really is, what it really encompasses, and also different career paths as well. Because I've experienced and witnessed a lot of the time where things like health policy and research and other careers, such as community nursing, are introduced quite late into the academic experience for students. And a lot of the time, this kind of leads to missed opportunities and things like that. So I think that would really help kind of facilitate the programs and also just promote leadership from an earlier point.
Thank you. Christina, Dr. Mikokan, do you want to follow
Yeah,
through?
I just wanted to comment what Tuba was saying about this AI solution. So we research quite a lot for integrating AI in nursing education. And what I wanted to say, what is very important for us as nurses and nursing scientists to realize that our role needs to be very human-centric, and we need to, in all university, we even talk about this hybrid intelligence where we would like to take over this culture of very strong AI emphasis in everything, because we should be the ones, the humans who kind of direct and point out the direction of AI, not trust AI so much to direct us in nursing. This is a huge risk that we might jump in and, you know, end up in a huge catastrophe in the future. So I think that AI has a lot of promise, but I think that what our front line should be is to represent this human-centeredness and never compromise human for AI, but use AI as a tool to help nurses to function in a safe, data-safe environments. But unfortunately, now AI is not as safe as we cannot integrate that so well into healthcare systems because we need to develop that further. So I think that the phenomena that we see a lot in research, that at the moment AI has a big trend, but in practice it is actually quite a big mess that we need to kind of ensure and protect our patient care, that it wouldn't become our guideline, rather that our knowledge and our evidence-based healthcare is the guideline for the patient care.
I agree. Yeah. Diva, I have two things and then I'll bring it back to you.
Yes, and then
because I know
back
we
to
have
you
already
also.
limited time.
Back to Manuel as well, after you speak.
Yeah. So there are two things. I remember Baroness Rafferty did mention earlier on how Florence Nightingale used the data in order to attain and meet the needs of those, you know, she cares for, you know. So that is very important. And I want AI to be able to help me on those if I have to have that, you know, in my place. And I would pose a challenge to all of you because I don't know, maybe by that time, I'm not sure how old I will be. But I would pose a challenge to our younger generation. You are going to be the vanguards of nursing in healthcare. It's up to you, we leave that to you to put that scrutiny and that critical thinking, how you would want to use it and how to move nursing forward into the future, using that not fully as it is, you know, front facing, but to help guide you to improve the care that you're giving to our patients. So Diva, to you.
Yes, I think we have just a bit more. We usually can go over a couple minutes. Manuel, would you like to speak in closing?
Yeah, I would like to conclude first of all by saying that all the input, all the speeches were amazing, and I heard so many insightful things. I just wanted to add something important. Mine is more a reminder or a call that the nurses collectively represent the largest healthcare profession, and they have so much strength, and the nurses' voices is so strong. And I really want to encourage, especially all the young nurses, all the students, that to not be afraid to engage in advocacy and to make their voice heard, and even perhaps to join politics. At the EU level in the European Parliament, there is a lot of doctors who are MEPs, and there is not enough nurses. And I think there is definitely something that can be done there, because at the end, if you can influence policy, you will definitely impact also positively on the profession. So I really want to encourage this. Thank you for having me here with you today.
And thank you so much, Manuel. That's yes, challenges abound. Now we close every session with the Nightingale Initiative for Global. The Nightingale Declaration for a Healthy World, the founding credo of the Nightingale Initiative for Global Health. Francesco, can you cue up the Nightingale Declaration, please? Whoops, back to the beginning. Okay, well, back, yes, thank you. The Nightingale Declaration for a Healthy World, actually, it's now available in 17 languages. Recently, Maltese and Catalan have been added. And just to say that Lucine was the translator of the Armenian, and Dr. Alina, the translator of the Russian. Just to say that we'd be interested in a Polish version and a Finnish version, and many, many others to come, perhaps Flemish from the Belgians. The Nightingale Declaration for a Healthy World. I encourage you, if you feel like it, to recite this with me from slide to slide. We, the nurses and concerned citizens of the global community, hereby dedicate ourselves to achieve a healthy world. We declare our willingness to unite in programs of action, to share information and solutions, and improve health conditions for all humanity, locally, nationally, and globally. We further resolve to adopt personal practices and to implement public policies in our communities and nations, making this goal achievable and inevitable, beginning today in our own lives, in the life of our nations, and in the world at large. Florence Nightingale. What would she say? What would she envision for us? Actually, in 1893, she said, "We are only on the threshold of nursing in the future which I shall not see, for I am old. May a better way be opened. May we hope that when we are all dead and gone, leaders will arise who have been personally experienced in the hard, practical work, the difficulties and the joys of organizing nursing reforms, and who will lead far beyond anything we have done." Please join us with your voice. See the Nightingale Declaration for a Healthy World in the many, many versions, now 17 versions, and many more to come, at NIVision.net, declaration.html. And also to say, one more slide, that coming on June 10th, we have student nurses' voices from the Middle East. We're looking forward to this session, and we invite you to be in attendance for these students in the Middle East, in the very challenged Middle East. We're very looking forward to this. Thank you so much, everyone, for this session and for all of your thoughts, your reflections, and may you all thrive and be well in your nursing careers. Thank you so ever so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I just want to quickly jump in just to echo my thanks as well. Thank you to everyone for helping organize this session. Thank you to all of the students and the professors for taking the time to be here today, especially with the time difference between us and Europe. Thank you, Deva and Tess, for all of your help putting the series and session together. Thank you to all of the groups that are partnered and sponsored for this series. And of course, thank you to everyone in the audience for taking the time to be here with us. And just as a final reminder, this is also being recorded. So if you want to come back to revisit any of the sessions in the series, or if you want to share this with anyone who couldn't make it today, I've put our social media, including our YouTube, in the chat. So you can find this video up on our YouTube channel probably within the next 2 hours or so.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you so much to everybody. I hope everybody has a great day, night, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.